Without the salary cap, owners with deep pockets or teams that are in markets that have the highest earning potential would rule the NBA. Ever wonder why the NBA has a salary cap? Well, in this video, I'm going to discuss the purpose of the NBA salary cap. Let's get into it. The NBA salary cap controls costs and maintains competitive balance in the league. It is designed to limit the total amount of money teams can pay its players. The salary cap ensures that teams in larger markets or teams that have owners with deep pockets cannot sign free agents to their payroll if the total payroll exceeds the salary cap. The NBA believes that teams should attempt to keep their own players in an effort to foster fan support in the individual cities. However, the NBA is said to have a soft salary cap because it has significant exceptions that allows teams to exceed the salary cap when it signs its players. I'll talk more about the exceptions within the salary cap later in this video. The NBA salary cap is decided by the league and the Players Association under the collective bargaining agreement, or better known as the CBA. The salary cap year goes into effect on July 1st of each year and continues to be in effect through June 30th of the following year. In 2020, the salary cap year was changed due to the pandemic, and as a result, the amended CBA started the salary cap year in November of 2020, and it should last through May of 2021. The NBA salary cap is derived from basketball-related income. In a nutshell, basketball-related income refers to income or revenue that is received by the NBA through the NBA properties or the NBA media ventures. Income or revenue refers to things like ticket sales, concession sales, team sponsorships, media contracts with, think about it, NBA on TNT, ESPN Network, or Fox Sports Network. There's other income-related activities that the NBA receives throughout the year. I just covered a few of them, but you get the idea. The salary cap is calculated and negotiated before the season begins. The CBA takes into consideration the projected basketball-related income, its benefits, and the escrow account when determining the salary cap amount before the upcoming season. The CBA experts use their complicated formula where I am quite sure they add, carry the one, subtract by borrowing, divide and multiply before they come up with the dollar amount that will be used to determine the salary cap for each year. As I mentioned earlier in this video, there are several salary cap exceptions. Far too many for me to discuss, but I will talk about two of them that are most common. But remember, the basic rule of the salary cap is so that teams do not exceed the cap at any time unless they are using an exception. And since the NBA has a soft salary cap, the exception is the mechanism that teams will use in order to exceed the cap itself. The most common salary exception is called bird rights or veteran free agent exception. This exception was named after Hall of Fame player Larry Bird, who played 13 seasons with the Boston Celtics. You should look it up. It's a good read. Essentially, bird rights gives teams the right to exceed the salary cap to re-sign their own free agent up to the player's maximum salary. The bird rights exception comes in three types: the bird right exception, the early bird right exception, or the non-bird right exception. The bird rights exception applies to a player that has been with a team for the prior 3 seasons and has not been waived or has not changed teams through free agency. The early bird right exception applies to a player who has been with the same team for the prior 2 seasons before hitting free agency. And the non-bird right exception refers to a player that does not meet the requirements of the bird right exception or the early bird right exception, but can sign a deal with the same team where they finished the previous season. Another common salary cap exception is called the mid-level exception, or MLE. Teams are allowed to sign a free agent up to the salary, which is determined by that year's salary cap. And it may be split among multiple players. The mid-level exception is divided into three types: non-taxpayer mid-level exception, taxpayer mid-level exception, or mid-level exception for room teams. The non-taxpayer mid-level exception allows teams to sign any free agent up to 4 years, with the first year being determined by the salary cap. The taxpayer mid-level exception is similar to the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, but it comes with penalties. And it reduces the contract that a free agent can sign up to 3 years, provided that the first year is determined by the salary cap. The mid-level exception for room teams is available for teams who have cap room and have not used a different mid-level exception or the biannual exception. In this video, I summarized some details of the NBA salary cap. There is a lot to the NBA salary cap and how it maintains competitive balance within the league. Without the salary cap, owners with deep pockets or teams that are in markets that have the highest earning potential would rule the NBA. I'm so glad that's not the case and that equitable competition still reigns. If you like this video, please check out my other videos on the operational elements of the NBA. And until next time, bye.